In a world where mental health conversations are dominated by quick-fix apps, surface-level mindfulness, and cognitive checklists, one question quietly lingers. Where did the soul go? We track our habits. We monitor our moods. We talk about mental health in terms of productivity and symptom reduction. But beneath the surface, human beings are still haunted by dreams they can't explain, life patterns they can't break, and a hunger for meaning that can't be medicated. What about therapy that doesn't just ask, "How are you functioning?" but instead asks, "Who are you becoming?" That's where Jungian psychology, and depth psychology more broadly, offers a radically different approach. One that refuses to reduce the human psyche to algorithms and checklists. But is it still alive? Is anyone practicing this today? Or has Jung's legacy faded into philosophical history? Today we explore, is depth psychology still practiced? And what role does Jungian therapy play in modern mental health? Welcome to The Unfolding Journey, the channel where we explore the symbolic, the soulful, and the psychological. Here we dive into Jungian thought, archetypes, shadow work, myth, and what it means to live a life of depth in an age of distraction. If you're seeking more than just coping, if you're looking for meaning, transformation, and inner work, you're in the right place. Let's begin. Carl Gustav Jung, once Freud's heir apparent, broke away from psychoanalysis to found analytical psychology, now often referred to as Jungian psychology. Unlike traditional psychology, which focuses on the ego and behavior, Jung proposed a model of the psyche that includes the conscious ego, the personal unconscious, and the collective unconscious, a shared psychological inheritance of symbols and archetypes. Depth psychology isn't just about fixing problems. It's about making the unconscious conscious. It sees psychological symptoms as messages from the soul, not malfunctions in the brain. Rather than removing a symptom, Jungian therapy might ask, what is this anxiety trying to reveal? What does this depression want you to know? Jungian therapy involves dream work, active imagination, exploration of myth and symbol, shadow integration, and the lifelong process of individuation, becoming your fullest self. It's not fast, it's not simple, and it's definitely not one-size-fits-all. But for many, it's the only kind of therapy that feels human. You might be surprised to learn that Jungian therapy is not only still practiced, it's thriving, especially in specialized communities and among those disillusioned with more mechanistic forms of therapy. While it's true that mainstream psychology, especially in the US, has leaned heavily toward cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, brief interventions, and pharmaceutical approaches, Jungian analysts continue to work around the world through private practice, depth psychology institutes, training programs in Jungian analysis, online therapy platforms offering depth-oriented sessions, organizations like the C.G. Jung Institute, with branches in Zurich, San Francisco, Chicago, and elsewhere, continue to train therapists in the Jungian tradition, requiring intensive study, personal analysis, and dream interpretation. In some places, it's known as analytical psychology. In others, it blends into the broader umbrella of depth psychotherapy, which also includes post-Jungian, archetypal, and existential therapies. Many modern Jungian therapists adapt their methods to contemporary contexts, working with trauma through symbolic and somatic methods, integrating neuroscience and attachment theory, using archetypes in narrative therapy and coaching, offering online dream work and symbolic analysis. While insurance companies often prefer short-term, goal-oriented therapy, many clients seek out Jungian therapists specifically for their deeper, more transformative work. These aren't just therapists. They're often guides through life's major transitions: loss, crisis, awakening, midlife, aging, where surface solutions no longer suffice. In a fast-paced world focused on outcomes, efficiency, and symptom relief, depth psychology is a countercultural act. It says, you are more than your productivity. Your suffering has meaning. Your dreams have wisdom. And your symptoms may be the very path to your healing. Unlike approaches that aim to eliminate discomfort, Jungian psychology invites you to befriend it, to explore it like a landscape filled with forgotten gods, abandoned inner children, and archetypal patterns. For example, a panic attack isn't just maladaptive behavior. It could be a call from the unconscious to break free from a stifling identity. A recurring dream of being chased might not mean you're paranoid. It could mean you're avoiding your shadow. A sudden loss of purpose might not be depression. It could be the initiation into a deeper life. Jung's model reminds us that healing isn't linear, and that transformation requires descent before ascent. confronting the unconscious, integrating opposites, and engaging with mystery. And in a therapeutic culture increasingly driven by data, metrics, and algorithmic diagnoses, Jungian therapy reasserts the sacredness of the individual psyche. It honors the symbolic, the poetic, the spiritual. It doesn't just ask, "How do we fix you?" It asks, "Who are you meant to become?" Despite its depth, Jungian psychology is not without its critiques. One, accessibility. It's often seen as elitist, long-term, expensive, and largely available only to the educated or affluent. Insurance rarely covers it. 2, scientific validity. Jungian methods, like dream analysis and archetypal symbolism, don't lend themselves easily to empirical testing, making them unpopular in academic psychology. 3, cultural critique. Some critics argue that Jung's model was overly Eurocentric and didn't fully integrate cross-cultural perspectives or systemic trauma. Though many post-Jungians have worked to evolve the model into a more inclusive and intersectional practice. Still, for those who feel flattened by clinical checklists or feel that conventional therapy doesn't speak to their inner world, Jungian therapy offers something uniquely alive, mysterious, and transformative. It may not be for everyone, but for the soul-hungry, it can be life-changing. So, is depth psychology still practiced? Yes, and more than that, it's still needed. Perhaps now more than ever. In an age that favors speed over depth, function over feeling, and noise over meaning, Jungian therapy offers a sacred pause. A mirror to the soul. Not to fix you, but to meet you. Thanks for joining us on the unfolding journey. Cyclone, if this video resonated with you, please like, comment, and subscribe to support this growing community of seekers, thinkers, and inner explorers. And remember, your symptoms may be the doorway to your transformation. Until next time, keep unfolding.